Is it still worth buying flagship phones in 2018 despite the sales incline? Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Wilson Gao and this is Mr. GWS Gadgets World Searching. And today I'm not going to find what gadgets I have now, but rather maybe talk about smartphones, not just on sales, but maybe on the brands itself. Because doing in 2012, 2013, my first smartphone is the iPhone 4. Yes, is my first smartphone is using the iOS system, and to be honest, I didn't like it at all because when you want to install programs, of course install have to go through their app store, but like copies music from computer to the phone have to go through iTunes rather than the more traditional way of copy and paste like a thumb drive. And that's where the Android comes in, and my first Android phone actually is the Samsung Galaxy Note. Yeah, that one is the very humongous phone back in the days. That phone is a 16 by 10 display. It's a 5.3 inch, and yes, it still has an S Pen. Yeah, this one is the Galaxy Note 9 S Pen, but back in the day I really liked the Galaxy Note, and and since the sequel, the Galaxy Note 2, I also like it too, because the performance difference is quite huge. From dual core to quad core, to I think from 16 by 10 to 16 by 9, which is much common aspect ratio these days. Even TV also haven't even changed to 21 by 9 TVs yet. Even though if there is very uncommon. Yes, and yes, the Note 2, I really like that phone. And of course, 2013, 2014, I skipped from the Note series to the LG series. Of course, the G2, G3, G4, G5. Actually, my favorite LG smartphone is the G4, not because the phone was light and compact and very good storage, but of course I also like the front-facing camera. And of course, when it comes to Samsung smartphones, I absolutely like the S7 and S7H because of the front-facing camera, which is wider, and it also produces much better detail than the phones these days. But that's not the topic that I want to try to talk about. I want to try to talk is that smartphone sales is inclining not because of Apple, because maybe every year, every iteration of the phones, the performance difference is getting smaller and smaller, and getting very minimal, so minimal that the difference isn't that huge anymore. And of course, this year's phones, I also saw that price like dropping really fast as it should. Maybe because the phones when it first launched is also very expensive. Like what, the S9, I still remember the Galaxy S3 and S4 is like close to $1,000, and till now, of course, S3, S4 costs close to $1,000 when it first launched, compared to the S9 when it first launched is over $1,000. I think it's 1,100, I guess. And of course, the phones maybe a few weeks later will drop really fast. A lot of phones does it. Even the Huawei Mate 20, when it first launched is close to $1,000 right now. The Mate 20 as of 5th of December, 6th of December is $750 if you want to get maybe around Orchard or Bugis area. That phone is $750. So I would say, even iPhones, yes, this year's iPhone, the XS and XS Max, the highest storage available, which is a 512 gigs, it pushes over $2,000, like $2,002, $2,003, $2,300. And of course, a few weeks later, it also dropped really fast as well, maybe $1,700 or $1,800. iPhone XR, I think that was a way. I don't think even iPhone XR is worth that kind of phone. Even that phone is also expensive as well, even though it also cut a lot of compromises, and of course that phone is also dropped really fast as well. Maybe I think can get around $900 or $1,000 for the 64 gig iPhone XR. The sales is really inclining, so I don't really expect 2019. Yes, 2019 might be much newer innovation, but at the same time it also not cheap. I don't expect like the S10 or S10 Plus from Samsung will be cheap as well. And of course, maybe another reason is the competition is much fiercer now compared to back then. We don't even see much Chinese brands back in 2013, but compared to now, we have quite a lot of Chinese brands like the Xiaomi, Huawei, Oppo, Vivo. Yes, even Vivo also getting more and more popular, and even OnePlus, which I think the Chinese brands, they know how to justify their prices. Maybe 700, 800 they can get a pretty decent flagship phone. I think the Mi Mix 3 can get around close to $1,000, even though it doesn't release outside China yet. But that phone is good. Maybe because they announce their new flagship phones every month. Maybe. This is just my thoughts about the phone sales these days and their prices. So what do you think about the smartphone prices these days? Should you really get a flagship phone, or maybe not, or maybe wait a few months later to justify to drop its price much better than you can get one? Leave your comments below, and as always, I will see you on the next video.